Almighty God, who, in thy infinite wisdom and providential goodness, has appointed the offices of rulers and councils for the welfare of society and the just government of man, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interest thou hast committed to our charge. All which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Good morning. House resumes. House resumes. I haven't said debate continues. Chill. But it's nice to see people are racing to a thing. This is quite the converse of what usually happens where we have these cat and mouse games. I'm very pleased with how this meeting is going. And I have to commend the members on the opposition side for their contributions that were relatively free from infringements. I do, when it's not good, I say it is not good. When it's good, I need to say so. I said those who spoke so far, didn't I? Well, certainly that's what I'm never been clairvoyant. I don't want to be clairvoyant. I'm only speaking for those that have spoken so far. And that is why I asked that I hope it continues. Okay? So, okay, House resumes and debate continues. Pardon?
We give you our word, it will.
Say that again?
We give you our word, it will continue.
Oh, my goodness. You know, it's so funny. I told my daughter this morning, I don't know if I should be nervous. Things are going so good.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to make my contribution on the budget debate for 2018-2019 before this House. Madam Speaker, during the budget presentation and a lot of the contribution made before, with a lot of discussion on climate resilience, between building back better. And Madam Speaker, I will start my presentation in giving support to us building back better, but I will use the community of Salisbury as an example, or a model village, a community we can use as a model village for resilience in terms of preparing Dominica to be climate resilient in the Caribbean and in the world first. Madam Speaker, Salisbury, the location of Salisbury, the community of Salisbury, is on a hill. We avoid from landslides, floods. Madam Speaker, this community also have its own water supply. 10 days after the storm, we had water in source because we have an independent water supply. We have access to our farms. We have some challenges sometimes after the storm, but relatively in the source, we're going to have an area, ban area we can plant short-term crop, Madam Speaker, and that is critical for bouncing back after storm. Salisbury is one of the few communities with free jetties. We have one on the Salisbury Beach, one at Dolphin Resort, and the other one in an area we call Naya Valley. And I must say, after the hurricane, we had some of the regional forces who came there on the jetties to drop supplies. And also, as PALREP, we got supplies from Guadeloupe and Martinique coming to the Salisbury Beach. We said it openly because it was, it had gone to the Rose or somewhere else. It'd be a challenge for us to get it, so easy access to distribute to the community. So that, Madam Speaker, I must say, can start to catapult the community as well. Salisbury, the village, in terms of structure. They said that Maria slept over Salisbury, stayed there a long time. And people were expecting much more to happen to the community after Maria, but when we woke up, I think there was a certain amount of damage, but the community, hours after Maria, you would hear hammers knocking on roofs and chainsaws clearing access to the village. That level of resilience and independence, Madam Speaker, put us at the forefront in terms of the drive towards a more resilient Dominica. Madam Speaker, one of the challenges that we have as a community is that the lack of a proper hurricane shelter. And I think it's not only Salisbury, but across the board, we had a challenge. We had this Salisbury Primary School, and it got destroyed by Maria. We had a part of the First Baptist Church and also the Gospel Mission Hall. And they are inadequate in terms of providing shelter for the community. And Madam Speaker, a few months ago, about 2 months ago, we had representatives from the CDB in Dominica, and they were representing the Canadian government. And the Prime Minister made a reference to it in his budget address that they were looking at doing repairs or rebuilding the Granby Primary, Will Strathmore Primary, Monjon Primary, Daly's Primary, and the Salisbury Primary. They built the Salisbury Primary in 1972. In the Prime Minister's presentation, the discussion that we had with the officials, and they looked at everything, they said they look like they will have to do a complete rebuilding of the Salisbury Primary School. But in the presentation by the Prime Minister, we heard that we're going to repairs on the Salisbury Primary School. I just want us to look at it across the board, in all fairness, objectively, and see how we can use that building in the location that it is. The logistics is easily accessible by the community. You don't have to pass any ravines or drains or rivers to access that school. So it would be an ideal place to build a resilient building, that multipurpose building where you could have school, community center, and hurricane shelter. It's a very good area, and we're hoping that going forward, that we can look at it from that perspective as we look at building better, building back better. So I see Salisbury as a model. We can use Salisbury as a model village in terms of rebuilding, building back better, and climate resilience. So going forward, I hope we can look at that community as we prepare Dominica to be the first climate resilient country. Madam Speaker, the budget made reference to education and rebuilding schools, Madam Speaker. But we have to look at not only the structure, the classroom, but we have to look at the curriculum. How are we empowering our young people? Madam Speaker, and since the introduction of universal secondary education, we have had serious challenges with our young men and women completing secondary school. And there are some students or children who they're good with the academics, but there are some, Madam Speaker, give them anything, they will fix it. And I believe we had the JSP program. Madam Speaker, we stopped it, and we're talking about TVET right now, technical and vocational education and training. And I am hoping, Speaker, that before we can look at not only having secondary schools, but look at having comprehensive schools, where we can bring in the technical aspect, vocational aspect, culinary arts, and different things that our young people can get the skills. We are speaking about, Madam Speaker, about having a university graduate in every home. But what about having a skilled person in every home? Madam Speaker, Maria taught us a lot about skills training. Now we have, the Prime Minister made reference of it, we have to bring in a lot of skills. to rebuild Dominica. And I am sure if we had trained more of our people in welding, construction, carpentry, electrical wiring, and these things, we would get our young people more engaged after Maria, Madam Speaker. We have a lot of opportunities for them, but they do not have the skill set to take advantage of the opportunity in terms of rebuilding Dominica and getting a slice of the cake, a proper slice of the cake, Madam Speaker. So let us look at revising universal secondary education, as I said, and look at the more skills training. Madam Speaker, I have already made mention of the Nehemiah Comprehensive Building, Madam Speaker. It's an empty building, a large yard. Let us see how we can utilize it and do more skills training there, not only for Mao and environs, maybe the entire West Coast. You can utilize that building, empty building, and introduce some skills training there, not just for 3 months or 6 weeks, but look at every term you have different programs being run on that facility, and you have young men and women being trained, even night classes as well, for some people who may be in the service industry and may want to learn a skill, but they only have the time to do that in the nighttime. Let us see how we can create that environment to ensure that we have the skill set that we need to rebuild Dominica. Madam Speaker, as we mentioned about education, he said towards empowering our people, sustainable jobs, effective practical training. Maria taught us a lot, and Madam Speaker, I made mention of that. Some time ago, the Minister of Education in this honorable house made mention about that the government made the tuition about 90% of the students at the state college. Madam Speaker, why don't we, the 10%, why don't the government make college education free? Madam Speaker, if this state is paying 90%, why don't this state pay everything? The Minister of Education said in Parliament that the state is paying 90% of the tuition of students attending the state college. Why not make it free? So the children, our students will feel more compelled to go to college and learn a skill, Madam Speaker. That is what we are saying. Encourage them to do that. And Madam Speaker, adults as well, very much so, honorable member for the Kalinago territory. Everybody. And that is what we are saying, Madam Speaker. We want to create the environment that our young people will feel that even though my parents do not have the funds, but the government made college education free, I can go there and get educated and prepare myself and become a more productive member of our society. Also become more competitive in terms of job seeking. And that is what we would like to see our young people being given the opportunity, being empowered and given the opportunity to further themselves. Madam Speaker, tertiary education is critical, and I applaud the government for saying that we would like university graduate in every. We would like that. We would like them to come back home. But we have the challenge, yes, we educate them, but where are we employing them? And that is a challenge we have. Creating the enabling environment for the private sector to grow, to create jobs, and our young people can come back home and contribute. Madam Speaker, they're not going far, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Totola, they're in the Caribbean. They want to come back home to contribute, but we have to create the enabling environment. Madam Speaker, we don't want to hear our students studying and they have to be worrying about they have state scholarship and have to be worrying about the tuition being paid, Madam Speaker. We want our students, when they go out there, they want to be focused on their majors, their school, and that their tuitions and every expenses that the state have to meet is met on time on their behalf, Madam Speaker. And we see too many parents have to be going up the steps of the ministries every time we head into September to ensure that the children get the support. We should have a database of all of our students studying, they're on scholarship, and we meet the expenses on time, and the parents have got to be leaving the communities of Laplin and Pilisufri and Good Hope and come to Tongue up and down to see how they can get the funding for the children at college. Madam Speaker.
1 minute, please.
Yes.
This is about the 5th time for this session that I'm noticing telephones going off. Do you know in the courts when the phone goes off, the magistrate or the judge takes the phone and you don't get it back until you pay the equivalent of the cost of the phone to a charity? Yes, that's a fact. So please, members, maybe don't make me think along those lines, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, early childhood education. I think most of the owners, okay, it's connected. Most of the preschools around Dominica, Madam Speaker, are completely open. And sure, most of them got affected during Hurricane Maria. And I'm hoping that they will get the support, the startup support to open this preschool. Early childhood education is critical, it's very important, and we do not want our young ones to stay home and not get the vital first stage of education that they require. And we would like to see the preschools around the island get the support, the required support that they need to do the work in terms of empowering and molding our very, very young minds. So I'm hoping that they can get that type of support. Madam Speaker, we are hearing about our lecturers at the State College and the challenges that they're having. We cannot have our lecturers who are molding minds and empowering our young people having challenges with their contracts not being signed, some of them not getting, even haven't gotten the double bubble as yet. They were expecting to get it. It's owed to them. We are hoping that that can be addressed and move forward. And that is important because you not want your college staff, as I said, your lecturers to be disappointed, despondent, and not being able to come to the classroom, that energy to mold our minds. And it's important that we compensate them fairly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I heard the Minister of Information, Science, Telecommunications, and Technology. I listened to him yesterday, Madam Speaker, and he was energetic. I said he already spoke yesterday to keep his ministry. Madam Speaker, this year's budget, $400,000, only $400,000 was allocated to his ministry. Madam Speaker, that is serious, to have a ministry, an entire ministry, a minister, a PS, staff, office space. Madam Speaker, and only $400,000 they gave him to manage for the year. Madam Speaker, that is not a joke, you know. Let that sink in, Madam Speaker. $400,000. That is the bill, annual bill for a major company in Dominica. Telephone bill, utility bill for a major company in Dominica. Any farmer, there is a modest loan for a farmer or a fisher to build a modest three-story building. Three bedroom building, Madam Speaker. And that we are saying $400,000 for an entire ministry. And we are talking about the largest cabinet in Dominica. If you want to start cutting and chopping, Mr. Prime Minister, I don't have to tell you where to start. $400,000 for an entire ministry with staff, PS, minister, office space, transport, everything. Less than half of 1%, Madam Speaker, of the money allocated for the 2018-2019. Madam Speaker, I heard the minister, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I listened yesterday when my good friend, the Member of Parliament for Portsmouth. No, I coming back to my good friend in St. Joseph, but I am moving, Madam Speaker, on housing. Housing, Madam Speaker, after the Honorable Lennox Linton made one of the most excellent budget response presentation here yesterday. My good friend, the Parliament for the Portsmouth Constituency, Minister Douglas, Madam Speaker. Minister Douglas came the Minister of Trade, Madam Speaker, thank you for the correction. He was energetic. He was, I don't know where he got the energy from yesterday. And he made his presentation. And you know, the minister said that the United Workers' Party only built 2 housing schemes, one in Stock Farm and one somewhere in Melvin Hall in Marigot. Madam Speaker, this is furthest from the truth. The United Workers' Party built the Layo housing scheme. And we heard Senator Williams, only one, maybe one roof loss of few governors in that area during Maria. We built the second housing scheme in Bath State. You had the Paradise Valley built by the Freedom Party, and higher up had the housing scheme built by the United Workers' Party. The United Workers' Party acquired land at the Union Estate in Point Michel. We acquired land, some in the Charlotte Valley in Newton at the back of Fatima. We also, the United Workers' Party, in Chance, in the minister's constituency, we acquired land there to build proper housing scheme. The land of what is happening in Chance Portsmouth, we can ask the minister. The houses in Layu, they were called monstrosities, in this house, by the former PAL rep. The houses by the United Workers' Party. And they are there standing strong. Yes. But what happened in Hillsborough Estate? Resilience, Madam Speaker. Hillsborough Gardeners, Madam Speaker, fared differently. Madam Speaker, housing assistance post-Maria and the Salisbury constituency. I must take pause there, Madam Speaker, because I want to really make it very clear as the MP for Salisbury that I welcome any assistance for Dominica, for Dominicans and especially my constituents. But Madam Speaker, what I do not like is a total disrespect to the parliamentary representative. Not only Salisbury, but places where the United Workers' Party is doing. Madam Speaker, you had the disrespect of the Honorable Joshua Francis, parliamentary representative for Roseau South. Disrespect of the leader of the opposition and parliamentary representative for Marigot and Concord. The disrespect for the parliamentary representative for Roseau North, and disrespect of the parliamentary representative for the Wesley, Woodfordale, and Palm Tree. Madam Speaker, Honorable Bassett was sick, and they had 2 people distributing funds in Woodfordale and Wesley. The funds coming from the... I want us to listen clearly. Government machinery has to be respected. They're utilizing the village councils, Madam Speaker, and then they're using labor operatives to distribute funds. Madam Speaker, that is the reality of it, that is the reality of it. Don't tell me what I'm talking about, I am the parent for Salisbury, and I know what is happening, I'm Kelvin. I'm member for St. Joseph. Madam Speaker, it is right there. Madam Speaker, right. Yeah. $400,000, you're managing this, A farmer can manage that. A farmer can manage that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what we are saying, Madam Speaker, the United Nations, the UNDP, did a survey along with the Ministry of Housing, and they have all the data of the housing stock in Dominica that was assessed. By using that database that was made available to the government, it is now in Sky, they can access it, and they can manipulate the data to find out in different constituencies, different zones, different areas, which houses, the houses that got that was totally destroyed, partially destroyed, and whatever, Madam Speaker. And that information is available. But what transpired? The information was, I don't want to be involved in distributing funds and things. Let it go through the proper channel. There's a Ministry of Housing. And that Ministry of Housing must have the human resource capacity to ensure that they meet every needy person in Dominica. Not politicians or political operators go in and identify who they want. Let it be done properly through the village council. And I am calling on the minister responsible for local government, my good friend, the Honorable Minister for Ecclesiastic Affairs. Madam Speaker, that we have to manage and ensure that our village councils are not being used, but they are doing the job of the people, properly ensuring that it's done properly. When we have political operatives getting involved, you're creating a gray area on every village council, because some village councils are doing their best to ensure that it's done properly, but you're creating a gray area over every village council. Let us do it right, and let us ensure that it gets into the hands of the proper people, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
You have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes already? Yeah, more time, about 5 more.
Madam Speaker, I move the motion that the Honourable Member of Salisbury Constituency be allowed another 10 minutes.
Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the member for Salisbury be given a further 10 minutes to complete his contribution. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. You may continue.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. I'm loving the camaraderie across the board. Thank you very much. Yes, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I said earlier on, I always want us to adhere to the proper protocols within the public service to ensure that we do everything across the board and respectfully. It's important that we do that as responsible leaders in the country and in our communities. Madam Speaker, I also took the opportunity to write to the Ministry of Housing, and I'm sure that the Minister of Housing, the Minister in the Ministry of Housing can tell you that I have a list of names that I believe that should be looked at urgently. I have dropped that list in maybe 3 months now, still following up for the people of Salisbury, Kulibistro, and Monarchet who got affected, and they really need the assistance. I'm not looking at political parties, they support but need. And I must say that we need to address these concerns. A question was asked of the Prime Minister in Parliament, and Madam Speaker, I just want to quote just one sentence in his answer to a question asked. And the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "The government is seeking to assist the vulnerable families and persons through direct representation by the affected persons, referrals by Ministry of Social Services, the parliamentary representatives, or the local government authorities." I want that to sink in, and I want us to understand protocol. The Prime Minister made it very clear in his response to a question asked in Parliament, how people should get assistance. And when we're seeing political operatives coming in some of the constituencies, doing what they want, how they want, taking lists, it is disrespectful to the community. It is disrespectful. It is breaching the protocol within the particular ministries. And I know we would like to do better, Madam Speaker. And I just wanted to make raise that point, concern, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, another concern, a very serious concern that I have. As we said, we would like the best for everybody. And We are talking about relocation. We have heard about the people from Petit Savan moving to Belleville-Chopin, people from Corlew moving to Platma-Pier, and we are hearing now the people of Coolibee Street moving to Marcus Street, a place we call Ban, 18 acres allocated for them in my concern, Madam Speaker, I have no problem if people who have to move. My concern, Madam Speaker, is the approach. How can you tell the people of Coolibee Street that they go into ban and you have not met with them? No consultation, no visit, no interaction, no constructive engagement. You cannot do that to our people. You have about 163 houses in Coolibee Street and a total of about 700, the population of about 700. You're moving them and not seeing, having the courtesy, the decency to call the community to a meeting, discuss with them. Say, people of Coolibee Street, we have to move you. We want to put you more in ban, but people of Coolibee Street, you may go here aside from them. Some would say there are some areas you could put a river wall and it will stay. But nothing. Just tell them they are moving. Some of them have their mortgages. Some of them have properties worth over $500,000. I know they have to move. But how are you going to compensate them? Are you going to put them in units? Are you going to build them houses? Are you going to give them land? These things have to be discussed. Timeline for moving. And a lot of us who do, some of our basic courses will do project management. And project management tell you have to bring in the stakeholders very early. And when you don't bring the stakeholders early, you're going to have hurdles, obstacles, barriers. But if you bring them in early, you thrash out the differences and you move forward. As I said, I have no problem with the people of Coolibee Street moving, but let us do it in the proper way. We should have a meeting with the people of Coolibee Street like yesterday and discuss with them the challenge that we're having and hear from them, allow them to vent. Since Eric and Maria, the people of Coolibee Street have not vented to the government. They have not sat down with the government and have a discourse. Is that right? And I commend what transpired in the Petit Savan area where they had several meetings with government officials. Why don't you have that in the people of Coolibee Street as well? And we're just asking for fairness across the board and to ensure that we do things right going forward. Madam Speaker, and that is what we would like in Coolibee Street, do that, have constructive engagement with the people on what's going on and we're moving them forward, Madam Speaker. And that is what we'd like to see transpired in the Coolibee Street Salisbury constituency, especially with the vulnerable people of Coolibee Street. And I would like us to have that type of engagement. We've seen dredging going on, Madam Speaker, and other things happening. But in terms of having the discussion with the people of moving, that is very important. I know I raised it with my good friend, the Minister of Public Works, some time ago, about having that discourse with the people of Coolibee Street. It's critical. I'd like us to have that. Let us put the politics on the side. Let us go down there, the people of Coolibee Street, have the discussion. Meet them on their levels and discuss with them. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I had the opportunity to be at a Salisbury primary school graduation recently. And something that is critical in the lives of our young people is the opportunity to recreate, play sports for your school, and participate and help you develop. I remember playing cricket as soon as I went to Dominica Grammar School, St. Joseph campus for 5 years. And then moving on playing for the national youth team. But I bring that up where we had the opportunity to play sports in our different communities. And I made mention of a young man in the Salisbury Primary School, Taz John Jules. He got a bursary, but he got all the awards for sports, playing sports for his school. So you want to strike a balance in the community of the young men and women that they can get involved in sports. And sports is critical. And I just want to touch that area, Madam Speaker, a bit. Because I went to Monwatchet recently, Madam Speaker, and the young men, there's a young boy that played for the Dominica under 15, and I met them around in the vicinity of the public convenience in Monwatchet, and they were telling me that's the only place that they have to recreate. That's where they play the little cricket and football right there. And they were saying they would like a sporting facility in Monwatchet, even though it's a full basketball court. And they have identified an area, Madam Speaker, in front of the the resource center in Monroe. And they're saying that if we can get, and I also want to bring that in the domain, public space, that the Minister of Sports can hear that the young men from Monroe, they're not asking for much because they don't have a lot of land to play with. But in the front of the resource center, that something can be done, leveling it out and see if they can have maybe a full basketball court that they can play small goal football and basketball, netball and other sports there, Madam Speaker. So I would also like a softball, cricket, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Salisbury basketball court, it got affected during Maria, and even before that, I think I made presented a plan for the Salisbury court. Nothing transpired because of Maria. What I have done so far, I am in discussion with a corporate citizen to see if we can repair the basketball court and see how we can move forward in terms of getting sports back. It also, to the contribution made by the Minister of Tourism, the Salisbury basketball, the Salisbury beach is the only beach in Dominica with a full basketball court. And I think it can add to our tourism product if we develop it and develop the area. I heard your concerns, Mr. Tong and Senator Tong, and we'll see how we can work to ensure that we get the source. Minister Tong, that we can work together and see how we, going forward, that we can develop that facility. I was very disappointed in terms of the funding that was made available to cleaning up some of the beaches on the West Coast, and the Salisbury beach was left out. We still have a lot of work to do there going forward, but we see that beach as adding value to the tourism product. We have some of the best snorkeling sites outside of Salisbury. The East Carib Dive is right there, outside of Laro Club and this area. Whale watching as well can be done in that area. So it adds value to the product. Salisbury, the beach as well, gained close to about 100 feet as well, going towards Makushri. Before you had to jump a rock, but now because of the sand coming down there, we have a very long beach now adding to Makushri. So it added value. So let's see how we can utilize the Salisbury beach as well as part of the tourism product. Because Mayo, I must say, is a very good beach, but it can be very congested as well in the challenge that we have going forward. Yes, Madam Speaker, and as well we are looking at, as I spoke about sports, we are looking at the Salisbury playing field to further develop it. We were trying to fix it before Maria. We are still on course to do that. There are a lot of young men in the community playing sports, and we want to encourage them. I have a few gears at my home. I'm also in communication with the Football Association, the president, and seeing how we can continue to develop football in Salisbury, Salisbury, and along the West Coast, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, so that is where we are looking at empowering our young people, giving them the opportunity. Too many playing fields around Dominica got destroyed, Madam Speaker, and left back. Nothing much is doing. Sports has declined across Dominica. You would pass along Dominica and see a fed match with football rounders or cricket taking place around Dominica on a Sunday. So we need to see how we can resuscitate that and get the young people back involved. Madam Speaker, roads. I know I'm winding up, Madam Speaker. Roads, let me say quickly. I know you have a few more minutes. Roads in the Salisbury, Madam Speaker, Salisbury Heights. I heard the Member of Parliament for the Minister for Telecommunications and for the St. Joseph Constituency made mention about roads. And I spoke with him about the only road you have to go to car home is for Salisbury. And every farmer from Salisbury, Monrachet, Salisbury, Mayo, St. Joseph, Layu, as far as Maho, pass through Salisbury to go to their farms. We have to work together to ensure that that road is completed and completed properly. Madam Speaker, we have $6 million being spent on that road for BAM. And that is the worst piece of road construction I've seen in my life, Madam Speaker. I've said it in Parliament, I've raised it with the Minister, I've raised it in the previous Minister of Public Works. It is a BAM project, specifications. No one is monitoring. You have a St. Lucian company doing the road, and also a St. Lucian company yeah, Madam Speaker, doing supervision on the road. So we need to get that addressed. Madam Speaker, I am calling on the ministry, the minister and the NAO to do some investigation and a report on that road. It's of serious concern going forward. Madam Speaker, the United Workers' Party understand the magnitude of work ahead. We know what needs to be done. Better living standard of the people under the focus, fresh and energetic leadership of Honorable
Your time is up.
Lennox Linton. Dominica will rise, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Secretary, sit down. You have to take your time, Secretary. You come late. And you still want to speak before those who came early. Madam Speaker, I rise to give my contribution towards the budget presentation before us in this honorable house. Madam Speaker, based on history, Madam Speaker, the Kalinago people has always been a resilient people, and we fought to defend this very beautiful country we call Dominica. And Madam Speaker, over the 40 years, we have been a resilient force, and we continue to protect our beautiful country. So, Madam Speaker, I bring you greetings from the Kalinago territory, and to say to the Kalinago people that I salute them with pride and dignity for what we have done to protect our country, especially as we celebrate 40 years of independence. We went through all the odds, Madam Speaker. We put fierce resistance to protect and suffering from great casualty and diseases brought by the colonizers, yet we survived. And we were able to find creative ways, Madam Speaker, to adapt and to adjust to survive in hard times. And Madam Speaker, today we are still alive. And Madam Speaker, it is no secret to any one of us here that when we woke up on the 18th of September, on the 19th of September, Madam Speaker, most of us, if not all of us, could not believe our eyes. Madam Speaker, on that morning, Madam Speaker, because I sheltered the hurricane at the Salisbury school, I did not have time to get home because I was really busy trying to ensure that my senior citizens and the vulnerables are secured. And so, Madam Speaker, when I got to the school, I could not move any further. But when I woke up on the 19th, Madam Speaker, really and truly, I thought we were the only ones alive at the Salisbury school. But thanks God, there was no death in the Kalinago territory because we are a resilient people. And praise to the Most High for that. And Madam Speaker, we are always exposed to several threats. Threats such as terrorism that is happening locally with some of our leaders who call themselves leaders. Madam Speaker, we have shifts in social and in the political landscape and changes in behaviors that we have been witnessing over the past years, Madam Speaker, from people among us, Madam Speaker, especially among the UWP supporters. But Madam Speaker, these changes are not new, Madam Speaker. They are just becoming more frequent, and they are just becoming more violent, and that's what we now call the new reality or the new normal, Madam Speaker. And these new realities, Madam Speaker, has left global leaders, and let's take it back to our country, of dynamic leaders thinking of viable and sustainable means to capitalize on, Madam Speaker. And Sparks, you can laugh if you wish to. Sorry, the member for Salisbury, Madam Speaker, you could continue laughing. But, Madam Speaker, these are really trying times. And in spite of all the challenges, Madam Speaker, this government, the Dominica Labour Party, has been able to keep the country afloat and keep the country sailing in the right direction to make Dominica the best place to live and enjoy life, and of course, making Dominica the first climate resilient country in the world. I must salute my leader, the leader of my country, the leader of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit. Because, Madam Speaker, on the budget presentation, Madam Speaker, we see our leader providing this country with hope, Madam Speaker. There's hope for the hopeless, Madam Speaker, and the less fortunate, Madam Speaker. There's voice for the voiceless, and homes for the homeless, Madam Speaker. And I fully endorse the budget presentation from our political leader. So for those of us, Madam Speaker, who has been on social media and on radio talk shows, asking God's children to prevent parliamentarians from getting to Parliament, Madam Speaker, let it be known to them, Madam Speaker, that God is in control and God is on our side. And He will continue to be on our side, to continue to listen, to work on behalf and the people of this country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our leader and this great Dominica Labour Party, Madam Speaker, with its motto, all shall eat, will continue to shepherd its people, Madam Speaker, and continue to lead by excellence. Yes, Pax, by excellence. And like the Psalm of David, Psalm 23, Madam Speaker, you see, they don't like to hear about God also, Madam Speaker. That's the problem with them, they don't learn. But Madam Speaker, like the Psalm of David, he said, even if the people walk in the scare tactics of the violence, hate, and malfactorism of the United Workers' Party, the Labour Party will be there to protect them. Wait, I will provide you some information this time. The Dominica Labour Party, Madam Speaker, will be there to provide comfort and be a shield to protect the hundreds and thousands of Dominicans who are targeted by the minorities who have, by their own utterances, declared themselves as enemies of state. This Dominica Labour Party, Madam Speaker, will continue to ensure that there is enough food on every table, and we shall continue to remain in the House, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, like I said, we are in trying times. And so, Madam Speaker, I would expect that after the battering that we got from Hurricane Maria, every Dominican would have come together, hold hands, let's unite and help to build our country, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, that was never the case, Madam Speaker. But I believe, Madam Speaker, as citizens of the latter part of the 21st century, we need to take a collective approach towards the development of our beautiful country and by extension the rest of the Caribbean. We need to assist in the whole rebuilding process of our country, Madam Speaker. But again, Madam Speaker, here we have the minority group of Madam Speaker, can you please help me to pronounce this word? Is it malefactor or malfactor? I know it in Creole, Madam Speaker. In Creole we say malfaiteur. It's someone who returns evil for good deeds.
I'm not understanding. You know, what do you want?
Okay, malefactor. And in their pursuit to continue to destroy the country. But thank God, it doesn't work. And it will not work. And it will never work. Therefore, Madam Speaker, they will remain where they are. And so while they continue to play, we will continue to pray, Madam Speaker. And while the Bible speaks of 40 years of rain, 40 days and 40 nights of rains, the UWP will remain 40 years where they are, in the political wilderness, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, our leader will continue to do what we have to do and ensure that we lead Dominica into the right direction. Leadership in this 21st century is serious business, Madam Speaker, and we cannot gamble with our citizens' livelihood and their social well-being. We need to conduct the people's business in a timely and amicable manner, Madam Speaker, and see that we need to put extra effort and critical thinking, put passion and enthusiasm in what we are doing. And Madam Speaker, I see in this budget the spurring of innovative, technological-related businesses, the offshooting of a prosperous and vibrant tourism industry, a Dominica that will be a model for the rest of the Caribbean and small island developing states. Madam Speaker, we are all aware of the pains of Maria, the sleepless nights of our citizens, and the struggles we went through. Also, Madam Speaker, we are all aware of the rescue vision for our beautiful country by this government. And this gives us reason to celebrate life, Madam Speaker, because on the 19th of September, there were some who thought that we had a lot of lives lost. So we are thankful that we are in the land of the living, Madam Speaker. We must press on, make radical changes. We need to rethink how we behave in what we say and what we do, whether we are on island or off island, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, while the Honorable Prime Minister was delivering his budget address, I paid close attention to the members of the opposition. And in particularly, Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition. Every time I would see him and he's going, good point. He was not saying good point, but the nodding of his head gave approval to what the Honorable Prime Minister was saying. I thought he would have said to us in this Honorable House that, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, I am very satisfied with your budget presentation. These are the few things I believe we should do, and let us move on. Let us hold hands. Let us make hands clap. But instead, he put one hand behind his back, the other one I don't know where, and he is trying to clap. But, Madam Speaker, that's okay. In a usual fashion, that's how it is. And really and truly, Madam Speaker, there's nothing much they could say about the budget because they really supported the budget. It's just that maybe they're just there for opposing sake, Madam Speaker. But that's okay, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, anyone in this country who is of the view that there is nothing in this budget really and truly did not hear, they did not listen, they cannot read, or I don't know what is wrong with them. But, Madam Speaker, some of these people need to stop sleeping or dreaming of a mirage that will never become reality. They are all intoxicated by their lies, Madam Speaker, and we know the several lies that they have had over the years, and where they have to be paying for the lies that they said, Madam Speaker. Yes. Now, here we go with Maria. You can find people to pay for all your lies, but you cannot find people to give you money to buy one sheet of galvanized to help a poor man in this country, Madam Speaker. I come to you, that's wait. I'll make sense just now. So, Madam Speaker, like a drowning man, Madam Speaker, they are trying to catch on to bubbles for survival. But, Madam Speaker, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. You see, the problem with the members on the opposition side, Mr. Speaker, they don't like the less fortunate. They don't like the voiceless, Mr. Speaker. They don't like young people. I feel sorry, Mr. Speaker, for my other Kalinago brother who is sitting on the other side, because he too, they don't like him. Don't tell anybody that. But they don't like him. They want him out. And here he was sitting on the other side there, among all of us. He's trying to, Madam Speaker, can I see that I'm feeling lonely?
He's a lonely man.
You're a lonely man because none of them want him on the opposition side. I've spoken to him, come to meet me, let us do work for the Kalinago people. But he'd rather stay where he is. But that's okay, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, they don't like anything good for the poor people of this country. They don't like the NEP. They don't like, let me tell, Mr. Speaker, I promise never not to say this in Parliament. But I'm going to say it. The United Workers' Party, Mr. Speaker, when they were in power, my brother died. He was shot. We wrote to the leader of the UWP. The letter was never acknowledged. We wrote to the United Workers' Party, they never responded. Not even a petal was sent to the family of my brother, Mr. Speaker. And you want to tell me all you love people? No, sir. Mr. Francis, you know that. You know that. You all don't like poor people, and you all don't like the Kalinago people. During, which was it, the 2005 election, you all block us in Pogase with children sitting in the rain. Not in Pogase, in Pegua. All you block us in Pegua. And we had children with parents, elderly people sitting in the rain on the roadside. All you want to tell me, you love the Kalinago people, all you block us? If it wasn't for this Dominica Labour Party, Mr. Speaker, we would be there, behind back. It was this Dominica Labour Party who came and decided we need to do some serious transformation in the Kalinago territory. That's when we started the housing revolution in the territory. That's when we got the most students to go to study, Mr. Speaker. Under the UWP, we got... Yeah, I'm going to report...
Order, please. Order, please. Order.
I'm going to report on my constituency in my office and on my constituency, Mr. Speaker, because I'm ensuring that everyone in the Kalinago territory, Atkinson, and Twizzle up to Tuna Village has food to eat, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, they want me to speak of the Kalinago territory. I will come there, let me give you a joke, Mr. Speaker. I understand that jokes are not really acceptable here, but I will share one with you. You see, Mr. Speaker, in this environment that we are living in, we must learn to understand what is happening around us. And if we cannot understand the simple basics of what is happening around us, we have a problem. Let me give you a scenario. There's this gentleman who was on a radio program, and he said, the leader of the opposition is going to go down in history. And it will be recorded in history that he is the last person and the leader of a political party to lose a case at the Privy Council. Dan went and said that to the leader. No, Dan. Dan said that to the leader. The leader said, you know what, I'm going to sue Dan. Senator don't know what the leader is talking about. Senator say, let me go Sudan instead. Not knowing that the leader said he was going to Sudan. Sue in terms taking legal actions. But, Madam Speaker, that is to show you when people don't understand what is happening, there is a problem, Mr. Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, really and truly, Madam Speaker, we need critical thinking and put things into context, and let's progress. And let's take a path, because we have a long way to go, Mr. Speaker. And when I will come to the Kalinago territory. That's what I'm going to do. Mr. Speaker, in education, we see in this budget estimate, Mr. Speaker, $100,000 to redo this, or to do the new Sineku school block. And plus, Mr. Speaker, there is a $294,419 to do rehabilitation works in the Kalinago territory, in Sineku, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, Maria really did something terrible to us. All our schools were affected in the country, but in Sineku, we got a serious lash from Maria. And so these funds will not only rehabilitate, but in the short term, provide some form of employment for residents in the environs of Sineku. We have also, Mr. Speaker, the rehabilitation of the Salisbury Primary School, $154,542 that we welcome. Because currently, Mr. Speaker, the Salisbury School, while working on a shift system, is accommodating the students from the Atkinson community and the students of Sineku. And of course, we have the Castlebrook School with $500,000, Mr. Speaker. That's where majority of my students are attending high school. other than North is comprehensive. And while I'm on schools, I really want to congratulate the students also who did the national exams and did extremely well. They may not have gotten the bursaries and the scholarship, but they did extremely well in spite of Maria. Remember, several of my students had to be going to school with wet books and some with no books at all because of the blows we got from Maria. And of course, Concord. After Maria, I was one of those first individuals or the first representative in that area to get to Concord. And Concord School is receiving $20,000. The Atkinson Primary School, which is being rehabilitated, with $420,615, which, like I said, is going to create some form of employment for people in the vicinity of where this project will be undertaken. Mr. Speaker, I see every now and then I have a visitor visiting the Kalinago territory. I have a visitor, but the visitor cannot visit during the daytime. It's becoming very skeptical for me to find out what is this visitor doing in my territory. Yeah, in the night. I want to tell that visitor, Mr. Speaker, that if you're going to come to my territory and you're not going to bring one post, one piece of galvanized, or even an ounce of galvanized or a nail, don't come. Stay home. Because you have your constituency to take care of. Your people are crying, you're doing nothing for them, but you're in my constituency nighttime doing what? The only animal I know that travels in nighttime is an owl or shaman. No, the owl is even better because it can fly. So I suspect he might not be seeing light during the day. But please, if this visitor cannot do anything good for the Kalinago territory in the day, don't come in the night. And if you are so passing in the night, please bring down all your glass on the vehicle because I want to know what you are doing. I will not tolerate that in my court as my brother. So, Mr. Speaker, housing. The housing stock in the Kalinago territory was totally devastated. The 19th, as soon as I woke up, I said I was going to Sineku, which I went to Sineku. Everything went down flat. I went back to the Bataka end, same story. Tried to access the Concord end, roadblocks, I couldn't make it. But it really broke my heart to see the level of devastation we got in terms of our housing stock. And so, Madam Speaker, over the past few months, well, Mr. Speaker, thank you, sir, Reverend sir, we have spent $821,555.22 through the Kalinago Council to help people in the Kalinago territory to re-roof their homes and rebuild. And if you pass in the Kalinago territory now, you will see that works are ongoing in re-roofing homes and building new homes, Madam Speaker. I want the visitor to start doing the same. Encourage people to let's start rebuild and build back better. In Atkinson, Mr. Speaker, 3 weeks ago, a check was given by the Ministry of Housing to the residents of Atkinson in tune of $1.2 million to rebuild roof. The problem that we have now, Mr. Speaker, is that because of our distance from the city and from Portsmouth, it's really a challenge for us to get the materials. Because by the time you get to Portsmouth, the Deputy Prime Minister, who also has a lot of work going in this community, has already bought the materials. So that's one of our issues. And also, Mr. Douglas, the representative for Portsmouth, has a lot of work going. So for us to get materials, it's a challenge. The Ministry of Housing, Mr. Speaker, in this budget has $58,360,430 for residential building. Tell me, Mr. Speaker, where in this world and in which history book have you found a government paying so much attention to ensure that people are in safe, resilient homes. I can't think of one yet. I did a little research. I cannot find any country who does that for its people. Housing renovation, 5 million. And we have post-Maria home repairs and reconstruction, 15 million, Mr. Speaker. And sustainable housing, 20 million. Isn't that substantial, Mr. Speaker? And we have those on the other side. That's all they do is criticize. Don't even know what is happening in their constituencies. Passing it at night and monitor. I don't know what they're monitoring. I suspect I'll have to make one security for the Kalinago territory to see when intruders are coming in. But they must be careful. And, Mr. Speaker, with regards to the housing, which is a basic need for survival, this government is going full-fledged to ensure that we, the Dominican people, receive resilient homes. And, Mr. Speaker, we have heard of the pronouncement by the Honorable Prime Minister that we will be purchasing 1,000 homes, Mr. Speaker. And from the 1,000 homes, Madam Speaker, the Salisbury constituency is receiving 200. And these are resilient homes. They can resist seismic activities, Mr. Speaker. We have started, Mr. Speaker, the first 10 in Sineku. Next time when you visit the Kalinago territory, come to Sineku for you to see the beautiful homes that we are building. And come daytime, come early, so that we are providing those homes for the residents of Sineku, Mr. Speaker. And I can guarantee you, Mr. Speaker, that by next month end, even if it is not totally completed, but some of the residents can actually shelter in these homes in the event of a hurricane. And this is what this government is doing to ensure that our people are safe and secure. We don't take flights and go around and this is Minister, help me. Do we sniff or do we smell oil? We don't do these things. Because after Maria, I left here and I went to the two neighboring countries of Guadeloupe and Martinique to get help for my people. How many on the opposition left to go to seek help to help their people? And you're on social media crying you're hungry? Go and get help to help your people. That's what you're there for. Yes, you. Go and get help to help your people. Find food for them. In a nice way, you know what he was saying, Mr. Speaker? Don't come to me, I don't have anything for myself. How can I give to you? So, and that's why Senator Blanchard had to rise above the representative of it's from Mr. Lugie, Rozanov, had to rise above him because she could see, sense, and feel the pain of the people. She had to go out there, do what she had to do to get help for the people that Danny couldn't help, the senator couldn't help. Member for Rozanov, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for helping me. And this is what we are on this side, to help people, give people comfort, let them have a voice. These guys on the other side don't care, Mr. Speaker. They're only concerned about themselves. When the Prime Minister said that his roof was gone, they were laughing. Immediately after, the leader of the opposition said, my own is gone too. And now he has a resilient shoe. Now, in the Salisbury constituency, Mr. Speaker, we have some of the homes that were built before, Mr. Speaker, they were destroyed, the housing schemes. And we have 56 that we will rebuild in the tune of $2.1 million, Mr. Speaker. While they're saying all of their fancy thing, they are not thinking of rebuilding homes. They don't care. But we will continue to build resilient homes for our people in the Kalinago territory and island-wide, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that our people can have a good rest at night when a disaster strikes. Mr. Speaker, Yesterday, the member for Wesley, Mr. Basil, he was saying that the budget is lacking and he don't understand because he was only concerned about whatever. He said on Q95. Let me ask this the member for Wesley. If you,
Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, the member must say things that are true. I was never on Q95.
I did not say yesterday. I said you went to Q95 and you said that this budget has nothing. Did you say that?
I am again saying that the budget has nothing, but I did not give Q95 any interview.
Well, I heard
saying
it
that.
on Q95.
Okay, so the minister is making misleading statement, but let me make it clear.
Mr. Speaker.
Let me make it clear, it's an empty budget. It is an empty budget.
Come on, let us...
Either way, it's wrong.
Mr. Speaker. Okay, let's assume it's not your voice. But it's not... No. Let's assume it is not his voice, but it is the voice of the representative of Wesley. It is not Basil's voice. Okay, so it's the voice of the member representing the Wesley constituency. But, Mr. Speaker, if the budget has nothing, but here we have millions of dollars to spend, you're getting $2,000 a month. You cannot spend it properly. Is it true that you're evicted from your office? Tell us the truth.
Honorable Minister.
Okay, I take it down.
That is imputing improper motive,
don't go there.
and that is not
That's
true.
okay. That's okay.
That's imputing.
That's okay. He has taken it back. He has taken it back.
But
I asked him to take it back. He took it back. He took it back.
That is not true.
He took it back. He took it back.
Anyone can see that.
I can continue?
Mr. Speaker, he should be disciplined.
That's not funny, you know. But he making I know put out the black man lying.
Okay. Order. Let's continue. Let the minister continue, please.
You see, that is the issue. They are engaged in pure gossip, and when the truth is here, they don't like to hear it. Is it true? But you see, Mr. Speaker, when I was a child growing up, my grandparents always used to talk about Basil. And you know what Basil is. So, Mr. Speaker, in terms of sports, right now, Mr. Speaker, we have the Kalinago Premier Cricket League that is ongoing in the Kalinago territory. And I want to invite all of us here to come to the Kalinago territory on the 5th of next month to witness first-class cricket in the Kalinago territory, including you. First-class cricket in the Kalinago territory. And this is why, Mr. Speaker, from the Salisbury constituency, we had 5 young ladies representing Dominica on the national side. And we have several of our young Kalinago men who are representing Dominica in the sports of cricket. And I don't want to name because I might miss one and I find myself in problem. But we have our young folks out there. They are doing their best in the field of sports. I have a young lady, Miss Burton, who I believe is in Brazil now. And they are all over the place in terms of sport, taking a full-fledged approach to the sports development in the Kalinago territory to ensure that my Kalinago people has an avenue to recruit. And, Mr. Speaker, like normal, the visitor is always visiting there, but late. I wonder why. When the game of cricket is over, the visitor is there. Be careful. Be careful. So please, I'm asking you that on the 5th of next month, we will be having first-class cricket. Come and witness. And I would like to give a special invitation to the leader of the opposition to please come and have some time with us in the Kalinago territory. You all don't have to come to the territory only when the political session is getting hot. You need to come there before, during, and after. So please come. And Mr. Speaker, over the past years, we have spent over $50,000 developing the Jolly John's Memorial Park. And we just did a 30,000 washroom facility, which is available now for use by the public. And we will continue to develop the Jolly John's Memorial Park to become the primary.
Point of clarification. The game in the Carib territory, is it taking place in the night or in the day?
It's during the day, so people don't
Not on
play
the
cricket
lights.
at night.
Not on the lights.
Well, if you can see better light at night, you may want to come. So, Mr. Speaker, like I was saying, we have spent significant sums of money helping to develop Jolly John's. And we'll continue to develop the sporting facility, because the Kalinago territory, I hope I'm not offending any other ministers or any other representative, but the Kalinago territory on island is the mecca of cricket. And I stand by that. Mr. Speaker, in this budget also, we have funds available, or we say it's an emergency fund. As we know, Mr. Speaker, that in some instances, there are people who are in need of instant access to some cash. And really and truly, we have to put mechanisms in place to assist those when those events happen. Let's say, for example, one of my constituents, they're walking in the streets in Rosen, got hit by a bike. And they may need a screw or piece of metal to place in their hip or in their legs. We could immediately access those funds to help these individuals. Because while we are trying our best, but the unforeseen always happens, Mr. Speaker. And so this $60,000 will go a long way in assisting us. I know some of them are going to say, why 60,000? But I believe at this time it is adequate, because it's just in case of emergency. Mr. Speaker, sustainability. In the Kalinago territory, we have had this type, it's not deliberate, but this type of separation. Either it is health, you have half of the Kalinago territory belongs to the Castlebells Health District, and the other half goes to the Marigot Health District, Mr. Speaker. And likewise, agriculture, the same. So in this year's budget, Mr. Speaker, we have $500,000 or $0.5 million to start the development of a modern agricultural station right in the Kalinago territory. And we are speaking of resilience. Some of the components, Mr. Speaker, would be to equip it with solar energy so that we don't have to depend on electricity from Domlec. Also, Mr. Speaker, in the Kalinago territory, since we are into the business of resilience, and I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, that the Kalinago territory is one of those most resilient communities. And what these people used to do in the past, prior to the hurricane season, they would plant certain crops, like cassava and potatoes, underground crop, so that in case a hurricane comes 3 months before, so if during the hurricane season we were to be battered, there would be food in the roots that would be able to survive for the next or the remaining 3 months. So we are speaking resilience. We are looking at indigenous crops that we could reestablish those type of crop plantation to help our people. And of course, it's a solid base that we are building in the Kalinago territory when we develop this agricultural station, because we are aware of all the developments that is happening in the north. And if the representative from Wesley and Marigot don't grow to support the hotels in terms of food production, then the Kalinago territory must fill the gap. And this is where I believe we are going to continue to ensure that we have enough food for our people, food security, and we are able to gain economic activities by providing the hotels in the north. See, the member for West is looking at me. You heard of the Kepinski building? the hotel that they're building in Portsmouth. We have the Jungle Bay in Soufriere, Anichi. You need to pronounce Anichi properly because it's a Kalinago word. So, Mr. Speaker, we are looking at those avenues and where we can move forward. In this day and age, it is not just about me, myself, and I. It is a collective. It's me, my neighbor, and my country, Mr. Speaker. The only lady on the opposition side. You see, sometimes, Mr. Speaker, we need to think before we speak. And when we speak and say it is a shame for us to have young people cleaning the streets of Dominica, what are we really saying? Because, Mr. Speaker, if it wasn't for the National Employment Program, Mr. Speaker, most of those individuals who are cleaning our roads and beautifying this beautiful country, they would not have any form of engagement. And thanks to the NEP. Thanks to the NEP. Let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, you see, that is why I say when people don't understand, there is a problem. Imagine that, Mr. Speaker, the NEP workers, they are working for 3 days a week. They are working for 3 days a week. There are 6 days in 2 weeks, 12 days in a month, you are receiving $600. If they had to work every day, they would get more.
Let us have some order, please. Senator John Baptist, please.
You see, when people cannot do otherwise, that's what they do. So what I believe the senator should do is to encourage the development of more livestock. And in the development of livestock, people would have a better food basket to consume from. And when, let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, in the Kalinago territory, and my visitor is fully aware of that. I will mention my visitor very often because I'm still warning him. In the Kalinago territory, Mr. Speaker, the individuals who are employed, you know how proud they are for them to go to Marigot at the credit union with a check, cash their check. And unfortunately, they buy everything from Marigot, so the economic activity goes in Marigot. But they are very contented that they can go home with something to give to the family. I cannot say that in English, you know. You need to help me, Mr. Speaker. People who are ungrateful,
Yeah.
they have a small, no, maybe they have a big eyes. So sometimes we see too much greediness. They're asking for what they don't deserve. Some members of the opposition, they don't know what is going on in their constituency. They come here, they sit and they talk until they're corrected and they say, oh, I'm sorry, I did not know that was happening. And that's how they are. Those who are taking care of the elderly. You can see in their eye how thankful they are for the Yes We Care program. And they say that to me every day when I visit them. They say to the Honorable Prime Minister in Creole, they say, tell him thank you very much for what he's doing for the poor people of this country, the less fortunate, most importantly, the elderly people. And may God continue to bless him and bless the Dominica Labour Party for what they're doing for the less fortunate in this country, that the members of the opposition don't care at all about, Mr. Speaker. Also, Mr. Speaker, in this budget, I see constituency empowerment receiving a $2 million. Like I have said in previous budgets, the Ministry of Kalinago Affairs is always getting from all other ministries. So in spite of me getting my ministry receiving $0.5 million for agriculture, I will still be going to the Ministry of Agriculture to get more. And I will still be going to constituency empowerment to get more. I will still go to education for more scholarship, for public works, for road development in my community. And as we speak, Mr. Speaker, we have started the road construction in the constituency, and works are still ongoing, in spite of Maria. Building the road network so that the farmers can continue planting and use what they have to do, or use what they have to use to ensure that we have food production in the Kalinago community. And we will continue with the agricultural center to help these individuals who are taking it more on a commercial level, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another component of this budget that I'm very, very happy with is the banning of certain plastics and styrofoam products. Like I said, Mr. Speaker, the Kalinago people, they protected and they preserved this country for years. Our water resources, if you follow the National Trail, for example, you'll realize the pattern of this trail, it was to protect our rivers. So you would find every time we approach a river, we would go down to the seaside and we would come back up, protecting our rivers. And so at this time, when we are talking tourism, we are talking resilience, I'm very happy that we are putting a ban on certain plastic and styrofoam products. And we have an obligation, Mr. Speaker, to protect Mother Earth. Because if we don't do it now, we will not suffer. But my generation, your generation, is going to pay the price for what we do today. And we are in a perfect environment where we are marketing our island as the nature isle of the Caribbean. And this, I believe, is in the right direction. I am very happy for it, so that we are able to put a ban on those products. We speak also, Mr. Speaker, of a resilience emergency center for the Kalinago territory. You heard the member for St. Joseph spoke of his center. Within the Kalinago territory, we are going to have our own center. Currently, Mr. Speaker, other than the schools and private homes, we really don't have hurricane shelters. And we are really in a vulnerable state as we are now. So with the development of this center, Mr. Speaker, we will have a better sense of comfort. While we are building homes to withstand Category 5 hurricanes, we have things in place to ensure that those who haven't been assisted will have some form of comfort. And let me just warn my visitor again for the last time. When you visit the Kalinago territory, don't play games with the less fortunate, because they have a habit, Mr. Speaker, and not only in the Kalinago territory the situation is like this, but they take isolated cases, post it on Facebook, and say the Parliament is doing nothing. What have you done for your constituency? It is shameful. It is shameful. I will never take the picture of the less fortunate and post it on Facebook and make fun of them. It is a sin, and you need to ask forgiveness, Mr. Visitor. The visitor went further, Mr. Speaker. Should I say it, my visitor? You cannot take pictures of people in a situation, put it on Facebook, making fun of these individuals. Instead of coming and say, sir or ma'am or whoever you want to address this individual, I see your concerns. Me and the Parliament, we are good friends. I will talk to him and see how we can assist. The Parliament, I will give him $6,000 to help him to do this for you, and he will continue doing the rest. But you come and you criticize, you make fun of these poor people, and when you finish, you feel comforted, you walk and you knock your chest. I have done something good. God will not forgive you, my visitor. Health, Mr. Speaker, I am very happy. And my friend, Honorable Linton from Marigot, we must be happy, because we will see progress on the new Marigot Hospital. I've had my fair share of the pain, Mr. Speaker, because in the Salisbury constituency, sometimes I provide ambulance services with my vehicle. I have to go as far as Wesley. So with the new Marigot Hospital, I am happy that it is coming on stream. And we will see work happening in the Marigot constituency. I wish the hospital could have been moved to the Kalinago territory so that we'll negotiate. Because really, Mr. Speaker, it's a challenge. Like I said, in terms of health, half of this constituent goes to Marigot, and the other half goes to Castlebruce. So I'm very happy it is there in this budget. We will see works happening. I mean, the Minister of Health will give further details with regards to this project. But I'm just saying that I'm very, very happy. And the member for Marigot should be very happy also. Because there are a lot of challenges in Marigot. Not only health-wise, but there are challenges. And we need to take those challenges head-on to ensure that we solve people's problems. In the Kalinago territory, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very happy also with all the structures that we have going in terms of our hotel rooms, because I foresee the Kalinago territory benefiting significantly with the tourism dollar. And so at the Kalinago Barana Oti, there have been a sum of $318,000 spent to do synthetic thatch on the Cabe and on the Welcome Center. The synthetic thatch, Mr. Speaker, is preferred because in the use of the natural materials that we were using, the vetiver, because of the sea blast, the rain, and the elements, we find it's deteriorating quickly. So with the synthetic thatch, it will withstand, it is fireproof, and in case of a disaster, we won't have much to worry about because we believe that it will be able to withstand a hurricane. Yeah, and of course it will be camouflaged with some natural thatching. And of course another $94,000 is being spent to repair the guardrails and other structures within the Kalinago Barana Oti. And we are all aware of the benefits of Kalinago Barana Oti to the people of the Salisbury constituency. That's where we have the most craft weavers on island. And while we're on craft weavers, it's the first time that after any disaster, that the craft weavers are receiving some cash assistance from this government. Every month, we have 123 craft weavers within the Kalinago territory who is receiving $500 to help them. And now that the tourism is starting to pick up, they will further benefit from the tourism dollar while we win out with the $500. So I'm very happy for what they're receiving. Some people say it could have been more, but in trying times, your cash and resources are limited. We can only do with what we have. And so, Mr. Speaker, sorry, we have to be thankful because it's trying times. And for those who are not thankful, may God bless them. And those of us who are very thankful, may we be blessed also. I thank the government for the support that have been given to the Kalinago territory, because I have said several times that if it wasn't for this Dominica Labour Party, many of us would still be walking the country with our heads down. But because of this Dominica Labour Party, we can walk with our heads high and say thank you to Labour, thank you to the government, and thank you to the Dr. Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who has given us the confidence that we as the first inhabitants of this country can work with pride and dignity. And so, Mr. Speaker, with these words, I really want to give my fullest support to this budget estimate before us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I rise to make a very brief contribution to this year's budget. Mr. Speaker, it's heartening to see that the House of Parliament is being converted into a house of God. We have been hearing quite a number of scriptures, a lot of political evangelism. It would appear that the church which the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, wants to create after he retires from politics is on its way. And we have quite a number of young evangelists in the making. So that's very good for the Evangelical Society of Dominica. For all of us. Mr. Speaker, indeed, we have been going through national trials and tribulation after a very devastating Category 5 hurricane. We have a lot of scars, a lot of injuries. We have lost lives, properties, and jobs. In the Rosasol constituency, as an example, we suffered loss of lives in the area of 10 people. We had loss of jobs, the destruction of Kubuli factory, the closure of Anchorage Hotel, the closure of Bello. The closure of such businesses mean a loss of jobs. And these are examples of several businesses that had to shut their doors, hence persons who had to go home. And therefore we have a very daunting task to revitalize the economy of Dominica, to give our people hope, to create a Dominica where our dreams and aspirations can be satisfied. In a recent poll conducted, a scientific poll conducted by a gentleman, it shows that 82% of Dominicans want change. And that change is premised on the notion that the United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, is the party with a vision. Mr. Speaker, we have heard quite a number of contributions from both sides of the political divide. And we have heard some thoughtful and insightful suggestions. And we welcome all these suggestions. Because when Team Dominica United Workers' Party takes the reign of power, we'll realize all the wonderful visions which have been articulated not only by the members of the opposition, but members of the government. Mr. Speaker, we heard the Honorable Lennox Linton, the leader of the opposition, giving a very lucid, integrated, and strategic vision for the development of Dominica. He understands, and we understand that we can achieve more. An average of 2% real economic growth is not enough. 18 years, and we have not been able to average more than 3% in real economic growth. With Team Dominica United Workers' Party, we will ensure that we grow our economy beyond 6%. Because until such time, we'll be saddled with high unemployment, low exports, and high underemployment. And that is why we want to revitalize the private sector. We have had enough talk shops. We want more workshops. And that is why Team Dominica United Workers' Party will go beyond consultations. We will ensure that we effect very sound fiscal policies to not only create a more vibrant and innovative economy, but to create an environment to attract foreign investment. Because we understand that our local market, with a small population, a small labor force, requires an injection of foreign capital. But this Labour Party has not been able to create the environment. And that is why 82% of the people are saying they want change. And we are very grateful. We are very grateful for the work that the Dominica Labour Party has done. We are very grateful because we understand that the Labour Party has basically done the basic things that any government in power would do. Basic things: pay wages, pay salaries, build a few roads, build a few public sector buildings, help the needy. But the United Workers' Party will develop a Dominica which is more cohesive. It's a party which is more caring, and as such, absolutely no one will be left out. We will work every nook and cranny in Dominica. We will ensure that we have grassroots policies to stimulate the economic situation in Dominica, such that every economic benefit will percolate or infiltrate in every area in our society. Mr. Speaker, it is time that Dominica stop being the tail and become the head. It is unacceptable after 18 years of the Labour Party government in power. We continue to have the lowest minimum wage in the Eastern Caribbean. St. Kitts, $8 per hour. St. Lucia, $5 per hour. Grenada, $7.35 per hour. Dominica, $4.05. St. Vincent, one before the last, is $4.46. Mr. Speaker, that is unacceptable. You heard the leader of the opposition articulate that we will raise the minimum wage in Dominica, because we understand that no one should be left behind. We want to ensure that every working Dominican has enough to take care of himself and herself, such that he or she ought not to chase any politician to get assistance. And the question is, how are we going to achieve that? We can only achieve that with a competent group of people, with a visionary group, with a group which understands how to grow an economy. And there's only one group of people here who can do that. And that is Team Dominica United Workers' Party. We will ensure that under our leadership, we will ensure that under the United Workers' Party's leadership, we will find a way to reduce the cost of production in Dominica. We'll get involved in renewable energy such that the cost of production will drop, hence reducing the cost for the private sector. And therefore, with a reduction in cost of production, that extra money will be transferred into a higher wage for the people of Dominica. In the public service sector, we will ensure that we streamline cabinet. It is too bloated. It is too big. And productivity is too low. We have a minister, $400,000. He must go. He has to go. We have a number of ministers who have not been working for the people of Dominica. With Team Dominica United Workers' Party, we will ensure that we have less ministers. Less ministers mean more money available to do something else for the people of Dominica.
Honourable Member, I really want, how relevant is this to the budget?
Mr. Speaker, I'm addressing the budget. We are talking about the public sector in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
I'm going to allow you some
public
leverage.
Sector expenditures.
I'm going to allow you some leverage, but I wanted to really focus on the budget All right. No, I don't
The
see
budget
it.
estimates, Mr.
Let's go.
Speaker.
But you're not talking about estimate.
Right. So, Mr. Speaker, we have a vision for the people of Dominica. But that vision can only be realized when we take the reins of power. And it will happen, Mr. Speaker. I see the light. I see the glory. I see the glory. How great thou art. Change is coming to Dominica.
Honorable member. Honorable member for Rosa South.
Mr. Speaker.
I'm going to tell this is not a campaign. It's not. The campaign has not yet started. So let us focus on the budget, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we want to establish a very vibrant and innovative economy in Dominica. You heard from the leader of the opposition he spoke about cannabis. Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the economic opportunities associated with the cannabis industry. We have been left behind. We now want to get ahead. And that is why with our team, when we take power, we will not have talk shops. We are beyond that. We will ensure that we pass the necessary legislative, economic, and social framework for us to get every benefit from the use of cannabis. We see the economic benefits as part of the wellness, as part of the competitive and comparative advantage of Dominica, as far as our fertile soils, our rich water, our pure water. We want to ensure that every herb in Dominica is put into use to improve our health. And our focus ought not only to make Dominica more resilient, but we have the opportunity to make Dominica the first organic nation in the whole wide world. And that vision lies with us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want to ensure that we remove the toxins in our soils and waters. We want to curb the non-communicable disease in Dominica. Diabetes, hypertension, reduce the cancer rates. It can be achieved. And it will be achieved with Team Dominica United Workers' Party. Mr. Speaker, I will touch on a few headings. Mr. Speaker, in the area of law and order in Dominica, we call on this government to make haste to repair the courthouses, especially to facilitate and accommodate the criminal jurisdiction. We have quite a number of poor people's children on remand.
Please. Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Order, please. Order. Let us listen to the contribution of the member, please. Order.
We must appreciate human rights. Justice delayed is justice denied. Fix the courthouses.
He doesn't have to be careful. He doesn't have to be careful. He has to speak.
We are also calling on this government to improve the working conditions for our police officers. We need to do a proper auditing of every police station in Dominica and to provide the needs of the police. We need to improve and sanitize the structure and hierarchy of the police force. Reduce victimization and to get officers who put Dominica first and not politicians first. Mr. Speaker, we need to review our Constitution. 18 years, and this government never saw it fit to even put a review committee together to look at the Constitution, to modernize it and update it. With Team Dominica United Workers' Party, as has been done before, we will revisit the Constitution, we'll put a review committee together and to make the necessary amends so that Dominica can keep up to date with the international legal environment. Mr. Speaker, I want to take the opportunity to advise the member for the Postport constituency that to develop a country, you cannot continually be looking back.
If his right designation is the minister responsible for energy.
Minister of Trade and Energy, the member for the Postport constituency. Mr. Speaker, we listened to him yesterday, and he epitomizes the governance of the Dominica Labour Party. Stagnant, idle, not going forward. Kept talking about 95 to 2000. Stuck in the past. His neck must be hurting him looking back. Get out of reverse gear. Let us put the country forward. First gear, second gear, third gear, let us go forward. But we understand that the government of Dominica cannot do the job. And that is why the people are saying it is time for change. And change is coming. Change is coming. Mr. Speaker, we want to focus on the Rosa South constituency. Madam Speaker, our roads in Rosa South require attention.
Please.
Our roads to Kingshill require attention. Our roads to Castle Comfort, Wall House, Jodel, Egliston, parts of Emsall require attention. Therefore, we are asking the government of Dominica
Order, please.
to work with more urgency in providing relief to the people of the Rosa South constituency, especially the people of Jodel and Egliston. While we appreciate that a contract was signed and some work is being done on the road, it is much too slow. We are asking that more work is done on the roads. We are also asking the government of Dominica to improve the sidewalks at Newtown. Madam Speaker, the sidewalks of Newtown are very important for tourists. A number of tourists who reside on the Castle Comfort, Citronnier, and Newtown Street pass through the streets of Newtown, and the sidewalks are very deplorable. The villagers are complaining, particularly the senior citizens and those who are physically impaired. We are asking the government of Dominica to provide more attention to the sidewalks at Newtown. Madam Speaker, the people at Emsall would like to see the construction of the bridge between Bath Estate and Emsall. We want to see the realization of that bridge because we understand that the area is vulnerable as far as passage between Emsall and other parts of Dominica. Therefore, we are calling on the government of Dominica to construct that bridge. It is very important for the people of Emsall. We are also calling on the people of Dominica to relocate the health clinic at Newtown. The health clinic at Newtown has been a very important component in the welfare of the people of Newtown. And the clinic was moved whereby the health services were fused with the Rosa Health Center. The Rosa Health Center is overpopulated. It has created a lot of stress on the people of Newtown, Kingshill, Loubier, Wallows, and Castle Comfort. So we are asking the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica to work on providing that clinic for the people of Newtown and environs. Madam Speaker, in the area of sports, we are asking that a proper inventory and auditing be done of our playing fields in the Roseau South constituency. The playing fields at Jodel and Eggleston require attention. We are asking that more money be made available and allocated for the development and repair of the playing fields. The playing fields play a very important part in the quality of life of our young people.
Yes, indeed.
This government keeps saying that it cares about the young people. How could you care about the young people and yet you do not show enough attention to the playing fields in my constituency and Dominica by extension? Madam Speaker, in the area of housing, we continue to have people in hurricane shelters at Newtown and Eggleston. Again, we are asking the people, the government of Dominica, to make haste in providing assistance to the people who are in the hurricane shelters. We hear of a housing revolution. Unfortunately, that housing revolution has not descended in the Roseau South constituency. Madam Speaker, even for the people of Fobawa, there were a number of Fobawa residents whose houses were decimated by the Fobawa River. And they have been given absolutely no commitment as to how they are going to be assisted to get a house, to get a permanent place to stay. I'm calling on the people of government to provide the facility for the people of Fobawa to get a place to stay. Even the people of Paradise Valley, who were affected during Tropical Storm Erica, they have not been given any commitments as far as a place of residence is concerned. Madam Speaker, I'm calling on the government of Dominica to provide such assistance to the residents of Paradise Valley in Bath Estate. As was said by a member of the opposition, the United Workers' Party purchased land at Newtown for the construction of apartment buildings. Charlotte Valley, to date, nothing has happened. Under the United Workers' Party Team Dominica, we will ensure that the people of Newtown will get housing, especially the vulnerable people in the coastal areas. Because while we talk about resilience and reducing the vulnerability of our people and our property to hurricanes, among other natural disasters, we have to relocate people who are in very vulnerable situations. And along the Newtown Strip, along that coast, have a number of poor people who need relocation. We are saying that our vision, the United Workers' Party, will get the people relocated into a safer environment. Madam Speaker, I want to comment on the Ministry of Kalinago Affairs. We heard the member for the Kalinago
You have
territory.
3 minutes left.
We heard the member. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I move a motion that the member for the Roseau South be given 5 more minutes.
Second, Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the member be given a further 5 minutes to complete his contribution. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? No. Why? You have 2 minutes left, eh? 2 minutes.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, what the member for the Kalinago territory did not say to this honorable house is that the reason why I go to the Kalinago territory is because he has failed and keep failing as the representative of the Kalinago territory. Under his reign, he has made no advocacy for the review of the Carib Act. Absolutely none. He has made no advocacy for the management of land use in the Kalinago territory. He has given no representation to assist the Carib chief in obtaining reparations for the Kalinago people. He has had absolutely no discussions on how we could curb the marginalization of the identity of the Kalinago people. He did admit that the Kalinago territory is the mecca of cricket. Yet under his watch...
Your time is up.
Under his watch, Madam Speaker, just 30 seconds.
Let him complete his sentence, please, without commas.
Under his watch, Madam Speaker, he has done absolutely nothing to improve the playing conditions for the cricketers of the Kalinago territory.
Right.
Except a pavilion in Jolly John's Park. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I rise to give my full and unreserved support to the budget presented before this House for approval. And Madam Speaker, before I get into the meat of my contribution in relation to this, I want to say to the Member of Parliament for the Roseau South constituency that if he is so concerned about the people of Emsall, he would have seen in the budget estimates at page 398 that provision has been made of $576,800 for roads, highways, and streets on Emsall Road, and that an amount of $6.2 million has been made available for the Emsall Bridge. So the bridge is coming for the people of the Emsall community. Madam Speaker, this budget has been presented under the theme Survival, Sustainability, and Success, a resilient Dominica. And we have survived Maria, Madam Speaker. And we will make Dominica sustainable, and we will succeed in our goal to build a climate-resilient Dominica. Madam Speaker, small island developing states are extremely vulnerable. There can be no doubt about that. We have limited resources, we have small land area, we have small populations, and we are vulnerable to external shocks, be they weather-related, financial, what have you. Madam Speaker, even if every Dominican were to pay everything they earn in taxes to the government, it would not be enough to do all the things that we have to do and all the things we want to have done. And we have to rely on external support. This is not peculiar to Dominica, Madam Speaker. This is a reality for small island developing states. And that is why, Madam Speaker, that this government has had to be creative. That is why we have had to be visionary in expanding our diplomatic outreach and in finding new ways to get assistance for this country. And we have done so successfully, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I listened in amazement to the leader of the opposition and his colleagues talk about 18-year mismanagement of the country by this Labour Party government. He even twisted the words of Alan Greenspan, Madam Speaker, to say that no government has taken a country back so far, so fast. Well, Madam Speaker, I think that the leader of the opposition, I see that he's running out of parliament now, but I think, Madam Speaker, that he was referring to the United Workers' Party government when he said that, Madam Speaker. We had 4.5 years of the United Workers' Party, and this country went back so far, so fast, that the voters of this country have said, never again, never again shall we put our future in the hands of the United Workers' Party. That is why you all have been relegated to the dustbins of history. And there you shall remain.
That's where you will stay.
So, Madam Speaker, many were not born when the United Workers' Party was in power. Many have only known this responsible, caring Labour Party government. In the 4.5 short years that the United Workers' Party government was in power, they brought this country to the verge of bankruptcy, Madam Speaker. Public officers were being paid their salaries late by them. Madam Speaker, under this government, before the month ends, public officers' salaries are in their accounts. Madam Speaker, after Maria brought this country to its knees and wiped out the equivalent of 226% of our GDP, this government kept its promise to public officers and paid them their double bubble, Madam Speaker. And they talk about mismanagement. Madam Speaker, under the UWP government, social security contributions were not being paid. The future of social security was in jeopardy. Under this government, social security has grown strong. It is fluid, Madam Speaker. The United Workers' Party government contracted loans at exorbitant rates. Who contracts loans at 14% interest, Madam Speaker? 14% interest. Under this government, we have been able to attract grants and concessional financing at rates like 2%, and in some cases 0.75%. Madam Speaker, under the UWP government, the economy was in shambles. The treasury was empty. It was this government, Madam Speaker, that had to drag this country back from the brink of chaos and financial disaster to bring us to where we are today. And now the United Workers' Party wants to stand up in this house and talk to us about mismanagement. Madam Speaker, who introduced night landing to Dominica? Before this government came into power, once the sun set, that was it. No more flights into Dominica. We were forced to overnight if we were coming from Europe or the UK. It was this government that introduced night landing. Madam Speaker, who brought international cricket to Dominica? Who built the Windsor Park Sports Stadium? This government. Madam Speaker, who built the State College? An institution that now provides associate degrees for our students, that houses a center of testing excellence in ICT, that was able to host foreign students from Ecuador to learn English. Madam Speaker, who introduced a policy to have at least one university graduate in every household in Dominica? This government. Madam Speaker, that policy has seen thousands of Dominican students attain a university degree. Now, the Honorable Hector John, I heard him say that he wants one skilled person in every household. Well, Madam Speaker, I should inform the Honorable member that earlier this year, I believe it was in May, 25 young persons went to the People's Republic of China to undergo training in auto mechanics. 25, Madam Speaker. Next year, another set of young persons will go, and they will undergo training in various skills such as carpentry, electricals, plumbing, welding, among other things, Madam Speaker. And I am sure that the Minister of Education will speak to other efforts in that regard. Madam Speaker, who introduced universal secondary education in this country? Who arranged for school buses to take children to school? Who provided uniform and financial support to ensure that every child could attend school comfortably and get an education? Who introduced free health care for children 16 and below and adults 70 and above? This government, Madam Speaker. Who introduced the Yes We Care program to care for our elderly?
They don't like that.
Madam Speaker, who provides loans at reduced rates at the government housing loan boards for public officers to be able to build their own homes? Madam Speaker, we see the many fine homes all over this country that were built by public officers under this government program. Under this government, we have been helping public officers, and instead of praising the work that public officers are doing, they sit there and they denigrate and criticize public officers, Madam Speaker. They call into question the trustworthiness of our hard-working public officers, Madam Speaker, right here in this honorable house. Madam Speaker, who introduced the squatter regularization program to bring some dignity and security to people, to improve their standard of living? Madam Speaker, who was caring enough to think of improving the circumstances of these people who are living as squatters and who do not have security of tenure, Madam Speaker? This government. Who embarked on an aggressive housing repair, renovation, and sanitation program to improve the living circumstances of people across the length and breadth of this country? The Labour Party government. Who committed to eradicating pit latrines? And we are pursuing an aggressive program to do so. This government. Who committed to making potable water available to every single Dominican? Madam Speaker, we were 98% complete when Hurricane Maria struck. 98%. In quick time, we were able to restore water to many communities. Madam Speaker, you heard for yourself the Member of Parliament for the Salisbury Constituency tell this House today that within 10 days after Hurricane Maria, the people of Salisbury had water at their homes. Why is that, Madam Speaker? It's because that this government made an investment in the water supply of Salisbury. And now, all of our water systems are back on track. Madam Speaker, who introduced the National Employment Program to create jobs and an opportunity for the youth to learn a skill and to be introduced into the job market? This government, Madam Speaker. The opposition are giving the impression that people are only employed in the NEP to beautify our roads. That's not true, Madam Speaker. There are NEP workers in many businesses, in the private sector, in the government service, at the hospital. There are apprentices learning skills under the apprenticeship program. Some NEP workers have already been absorbed and given full-time jobs in some of those areas. There are opportunities, Madam Speaker, being created every day for our young people to become gainfully employed. So when they decry the National Employment Program, when they decry the efforts of the government to get our people employed and to learn a trade and to learn a skill, Madam Speaker, what are they saying for this country? What are they offering this country, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, this is just a small snapshot of what this Labour Party government has been able to do over the last 18 years, Madam Speaker. I could spend the rest of the day talking about the other positive benefits for this country, Mr. Luge, Honourable Member for the Roseau North Constituency. I could talk about Petro-Caribe, the abattoir, the Nicholas Liverpool Highway and the EC Low Black Highway, the loan facilities made available to farmers and fishermen, the loan facilities made available to hoteliers, the homes built in the Kalinago territory, the homes built in, where is the member for Roseau South, the homes built in Emsall and Bath Estate, the homes being built all across this country. That is a record of achievement of the Labour Party government over the last 18 years. Madam Speaker, every time there has been a crisis, big or small in this country, this government has responded positively. We have responded with compassion and we have taken decisive action. Madam Speaker, just take an example. After the Christmas fire in Silver Lake, what did this government do? And that was in the Roseau South constituency, Madam Speaker. We were able to step in immediately. We provided temporary housing for the victims. We provided an immediate cash grant to them. And we moved immediately to construct apartments for them. 2 apartment blocks were built for these families, Madam Speaker, in record time. Record time. This is a track record of this government. So when you sit here and you talk about 18 years of mismanagement,
You had 4 years on that.
listen to the facts. Listen to the facts. And when you want to rely on a fake poll that tells you that 80% wants change, then you are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. Madam Speaker, Erica devastated the community of Petit Savan. Erica devastated the community of Petit Savan, Madam Speaker. Again, decisive and positive action by this government, Madam Speaker. We didn't leave these people to fend for themselves. We didn't say that government is not an insurance company and not responsible. Madam Speaker, this government stepped in and we provided support for all of the residents of Petit Savan. Madam Speaker, we see now a resilient community being built in Bellevue-Chopin for all of these persons. And I don't need to go into the specifics of it because the Prime Minister indicated how that community is resilient with undergrounding of utility cables, a proper water system, housing that is resistant to hurricanes and seismic events, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, housing is a major priority for this government. We have people living in very vulnerable circumstances in different parts of this country. And this government is committed to helping all of these people. The Prime Minister has said very clearly to this House and to this country that no one will be left behind. True. And we say what we do and what we mean and we execute. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Finance has said to this Honorable House that this government will build 5,000 new homes. This is not pie in the sky, Madam Speaker. This is not pie in the sky. Funding has been secured and contracts signed for over 3,800 homes already. 10 months after Maria, Madam Speaker. 10 months after Maria. Madam Speaker, everything that this government says it will do, it has done. And when we say we will do something, Madam Speaker, we know where the money is coming from and how we are going to do it. We don't stand there and give an abracadabra, as my colleague would say, budget response, where we talk about we will do this, we will do that, we will do the other, and we say nothing about how we're going to get the finances to do it. When we tell you we will do something, we know where the money is coming from to get it done. True. And that is the government that this country needs. Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition sat there a day or so ago and he made fancy promises in his budget of things that the UWP government would do once they got into power and so on. But where is he getting the funds to do it, Madam Speaker? Where is the money coming from, Mr. Linton? Sorry, Mr. Leader of the Opposition. Will he take loans at 14% again? That is what we want for this country? Madam Speaker, this government has a track record of achievement. We have a track record of delivering on our promises. The people should judge us not by what we stand up here and say we will do, but by what we have been able to achieve, Madam Speaker. And so when the Prime Minister says to this Honorable House, and he says to you that we are going to build the international airport, it will be done. And so, Madam Speaker, the opposition is throwing scorn on the project. They're saying that no provision has been made in the budget for an international airport. They're saying that it's an election gimmick. Well, maybe when they were in power and they said that they were going to build an international airport, maybe for them it was only a gimmick, but not for this government. Madam Speaker, they borrowed money to build an international airport. $140 million, Minister Douglas? $140 million. At 14% interest, Madam Speaker. Where the airport? Where is it? Where is it? Madam Speaker, all the money gone. And we have no airport to show for it. But we're still paying that loan at 14% interest. Huh? Madam Speaker, this government is prudent, it is responsible. We do what we say we will do. Madam Speaker, there are some major projects that require detailed analysis and planning. We all know that Dominica is challenging terrain for building an international airport, for building anything, Madam Speaker. So we sit here and we hear the opposition talk about what's happening in St. Kitts and what's happening in St. Lucia and so on. St. Kitts doesn't have the challenges that Dominica has, Madam Speaker. St. Kitts is flat, Madam Speaker. Everything that we have to build in this country costs us 3, 4, 5 times more than any other island in the Caribbean.
Did you understand that?
We came into this government, Madam Speaker, with a country that was bankrupted by the United Workers' Party. And look at where we have brought it in the short 18 years that we have been in power. And they want to compare us with St. Kitts. Madam Speaker, we got experts from the United States to look at the entire island and to advise us on the most suitable place to build the airport. Those studies take time. We now have that advice. We began saving for this airport last year. So when the Prime Minister tells you, or tells this Honorable House, that in September we will begin negotiations with landowners and that he has the money to pay them immediately, he knows where that money is coming from. When he tells you, Honorable Member for the Roseau North constituency, that advanced discussions are underway to secure the additional funds, you can rest assured that it is. You can rest assured that it is. The citizens of Dominica, Madam Speaker, can be satisfied that this government will secure the funding and that the funding will be at concessional rates, Madam Speaker. We will not take the funding at 14% interest as the United Workers' Party government did, Madam Speaker. We will obtain it at concessional rates so that the people of Dominica will not feel a pain in having that airport built. Madam Speaker, this government is transforming this country in a very deliberate and strategic way. We know we need an international airport to improve air access, but we also know that our population alone cannot sustain it. And so, Madam Speaker, we transformed our citizenship by investment program to create a real estate option. And that is designed to stimulate the development of our hotel plants in this country, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, when the Anichi, Kapinski, and Jungle Bay resorts are completed in the next 12 to 18 months, we will have world-class 4- and 5-star resorts to complement our other hotel stock on island, Madam Speaker.
This is done.
That will attract thousands of visitors to our shores. Madam Speaker, the Secret Bay and Jungle Bay, who have created a reputation for excellence, are themselves also benefiting from the CBI project, Madam Speaker. And support for other hoteliers were made available with concessionary financing available at the Aid Bank. This is what this government is doing, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we really have to analyze very carefully what the opposition say and what they in fact do. They say that the CBI has done nothing to stimulate economic growth. Madam Speaker, these hotel projects have created employment for thousands of Dominicans, just in the construction phase alone. Madam Speaker, when they are complete, thousands of Dominicans will have permanent jobs in those resorts, Madam Speaker. And here the time frame, within 12 to 18 months, Madam Speaker. Farmers and fishers will have a steady market for their produce. There are many businesses that can be started to provide services to that increased influx of persons into this island, Madam Speaker. So the opportunities are there, Madam Speaker. We have to be creative. We have to see what businesses can we go into to complement these things that are going to be coming to Dominica. We have geothermal coming, Madam Speaker. We should begin the construction of the plant next year. We should be saying to our citizens, why don't you look at what services that you can develop using the steam that will come out of the geothermal process? What businesses can we engage in? And I should say to you, Madam Speaker, that in discussions with the High Commissioner of New Zealand, she has indicated that New Zealand is willing to work with us in developing support businesses that are spin-offs from the benefits of the geothermal plant, Madam Speaker. So those, Madam Speaker, are the opportunities that are being created by this government in this country. But, Madam Speaker, the opposition cannot see that vision. They have no vision, Madam Speaker. No vision. Instead, what the opposition have embarked on a deliberate campaign to denigrate and undermine the CBI program, Madam Speaker. To what end? To what end? Who will suffer if they succeed, Madam Speaker? Who? The thousands of Dominicans who will benefit from these hotels, the thousands who will benefit from the international airport, the thousands who will benefit from the housing program funded by the CBI. And we in Dominica have to ask ourselves a question. Does the United Workers' Party really care about Dominica? Do they really care about our citizens, Madam Speaker? And the answer will be clear, and we will see it soon. They'll get their answer soon. Madam Speaker, the opposition has no vision. They have no plan. Madam Speaker, I heard Senator Monell last night scoff at the idea and talk of resilience. No other country in the world, Madam Speaker, has announced its intention to build the first climate resilient nation in the world. No one. Madam Speaker, I said earlier that this government has responded to every crisis with decisive action. And the record is clear. It is clear. Madam Speaker, within 4 days of Maria crushing Dominica, 4 days, Madam Speaker, when our people were still reeling from the impact of Maria, when the roads were still impassable, when communication was still impossible, Madam Speaker, this country's Prime Minister was able to travel to the United Nations. He traveled to the United Nations to tell the world what had happened to Dominica, to tell the world that we would not be defeated, to tell the world that we would respond by building the first climate resilient nation. 4 days, Madam Speaker. In 4 days, he was able to articulate that vision for the development of Dominica and the recovery of Dominica from Hurricane Maria. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister touched the imagination and the conscience of the world. Amen. That is why, Madam Speaker, that is why we have seen the excellent response that we have from the international community. I have traveled to many countries and attended many meetings since Maria, Madam Speaker. And what I hear time and time again from the international community is how touched they were by by that speech that the Prime Minister delivered at the United Nations. How inspired they are by his vision. How willing they are to work with us to build our resilience to disasters, Madam Speaker. That's a fact. And you have heard it yourself, Madam Speaker. These people, some of these people have come here and they have spoken about their amazement as how quickly we have been able to recover. They have spoken about their belief and their support for the vision to build a resilient Dominica. These are not things that I'm making up, Madam Speaker. But, Madam Speaker, while the international community are inspired to work with us, the opposition here refuse to. They refuse, Madam Speaker. Oh yes, they will come to the House and they will say that the government is not involving them and they want to play their part. But when they're invited to do so, they refuse. They refuse. Madam Speaker, I will just give you one example. The members of this House will recall that this government organized a consultation earlier this year to discuss building a climate-resilient Dominica. Climate-resilient Dominica. We invited development partners. We invited experts from different parts of the globe, Madam Speaker. And we invited the leader of the opposition. We put him on the program, Madam Speaker. We asked him to speak about his vision for Dominica post-Maria. Did he step up to the plate? No. Did he speak of unity and commitment to nation building? No. No, Madam Speaker. In the presence of all these people, he still played his cheap politics, Madam Speaker. Yes. He does not get the bigger picture. He doesn't get it. And perhaps he never will. Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition was invited to nominate someone to serve on the selection committee to identify an appropriate person to be the chief executive officer and the chief operating officer of CREED. Did he do so? No. No, Madam Speaker, he refused. So when they sit in this House, Madam Speaker, and tell you they want to play their part, they want to be part of the process, that's not true, Madam Speaker. That's just talk. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Judge them, Madam Speaker, not by what they say, but by what they do. This government, Madam Speaker, is not about talk. We tell you what we will do, we tell you how we will do it, and we get it done. That's this government. That's our record. Madam Speaker, building a climate-resilient nation is a new concept. No one has done it before. There is no blueprint for us to follow, but we have put in place a structure that will help us to achieve it. We said that we will create an agency to execute major capital projects. It will have the competencies and the skill sets to deliver, and at the same time, Madam Speaker, we will build the capacity of our people. Madam Speaker, our donor partners have been working with us at every stage of the process to develop the framework for CREED, to make available funding, to provide staff, to develop the legislation. We have the confidence of the international donors, Madam Speaker. They trust the leadership of this government. They trust our ability to deliver on what we say we will deliver. They have worked with us over the years, and they have been pleased with the results. Madam Speaker, we have a track record of success. So when the opposition will stand here and talk about 18 years of mismanagement, who do they think they're fooling? Who do they think they are fooling, Madam Speaker? Our people know better than that. Madam Speaker, I want to express my thanks and appreciation to the staff of the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Madam Speaker, since Maria, they have worked over and beyond the call of duty. They have coordinated the visits of numerous VVIPs since the storm, and they have done so well. Madam Speaker, we have a small ministry. We have only 2 protocol officers and 4 foreign service officers, and now 2 interns. But working together with other government departments, especially the staff of the Ministry of Trade, these visits were managed without a hitch. And I really want to commend them I want to commend the staff and the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the police service, the PM's office, and other departments for their efforts in that regard, Madam Speaker. It is not an easy thing, particularly after the challenge that we suffered as a result of Maria, to have been able to properly coordinate and have successful visits of all of those persons almost immediately after Maria, Madam Speaker. It's a significant feat, and I thank them for the hard work that they've done in that regard. But Madam Speaker, while I'm on this subject, it is not by chance that all of these VVIPs, those very, very important persons, have come to our country. It's not by chance, Madam Speaker. They came because they were inspired by the vision expressed by the Prime Minister. That is why they came. They came because they were intrigued by the concept of a climate resilient nation, and they want to help us to succeed. Madam Speaker, leadership is everything. Absolutely. And so we welcomed 3 CARICOM Prime Ministers, the Prince of Wales and the Secretary of State for International Development of the UK, the former President of the great United States, William Jefferson Clinton, the Secretaries General of CARICOM, the United Nations, and the Commonwealth, high-level officials of the World Bank and other international organizations, the Foreign Minister of Colombia and the State Minister of Japan. Madam Speaker, we have received overwhelming support from the international community, from our friends and neighbors in the region. And Madam Speaker, that list is long. But for fear of leaving someone out, I will not go through that list at this time. But many of our neighbors were on the ground with us from day one. In the early days, they were there. They helped us to coordinate and bring relief to all parts of the country by air, by land, by sea, Madam Speaker. They helped to maintain security. They evacuated sick people. They provided emergency funds and supplies. And Madam Speaker, to all these people, we will be forever grateful. Madam Speaker, I was privileged to work with some of them, and I witnessed their compassion, their dedication, and their support. Without all of them, we would not have come as far as we have come. And Madam Speaker, without the ability of the Prime Minister to reach out to all those friends and allies that he has cultivated over the years, the response would not have been so immediate, and it would not have been so generous. Madam Speaker, without, whether they like it or not, without the vision expressed by our leader, we would not see this worldwide commitment to work with us. Some might sneer at it, Madam Speaker, but that is a fact. And so, Madam Speaker, this government has brought hope to this country. We have brought hope that we will emerge from the ravages of Maria better and stronger. We have shown what we will do. We have shown how we will do it. And our track record proves that we can do it. And so, Madam Speaker, we have brought to this House a powerful budget, and I give it my complete and total support. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I rise. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to make my contribution to the presentation of the Prime Minister of the budget address and also the estimates for 2018-2019. In his budget address, Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister defined the budget preparation as a routine event. It cannot be a routine event, Madam Speaker. The budget address and the estimates is planning for the short term. So the principles of planning must be observed. There must be consultation. There must be review, implementation, and monitoring and adaptation. So therefore, it is no wonder, Madam Speaker, that the previous budgets prepared by this administration has not been able to achieve their targets because they treat it as routine. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Lennox Linton, the leader of the opposition, presented the detailed internationally accepted process for the preparation of national budgets. And the United Workers' Party, the government in waiting, will adopt and follow these procedures, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, planning for a country, planning for anywhere without knowing the size of the population, you cannot plan properly. And here it is, the government is presenting a budget and estimates area, 700 square meters, 750 square meters. Population, 2016, blank. Population, 2017, blank. We just came from a very catastrophic event. Thousands of people left this country. And you're telling me you're preparing a budget and you don't even know the population size? You can't even give the nation what is the population size of this country, and that you're preparing a budget for this country? Incompetence, not taking the process seriously. Madam Speaker, not taking the process seriously. It's like a parent. It's like a parent preparing food, not knowing the number of children she's cooking for. What you will have, Madam Speaker, shortfalls, waste, or you have to cook another pot. No wonder we have so many preliminary estimates, Madam Speaker, by this government after the budget preparation. Madam Speaker, this budget presentation suggests to us that thought was not given. There are errors and of omission, substantial errors, where for example, as observed by the leader of the opposition, a document which came to Parliament and amended to show that there was a $28 million shortfall. Here we are presenting another document comprising the national budget, and the same error is contained in there, Madam Speaker. That's substandard work being presented to the highest body in this country, Madam Speaker. It cannot be accepted. It cannot be accepted, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to respond here to some observation made by speakers before me. The Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, Senator Barron, just made the observations of the fact that there are many international visitors to this country post-Maria. It is a fact, and that is how it's supposed to be, because it's a defining event of biblical proportion, as informed us. So therefore, we can expect to have international visitors concerned about this country coming to see us. And Madam Speaker, the members on the other side like to look back, looking back on what the United Workers' Party did. But under the Labour Party, we had a crisis of our constitution, attempted coup. It was a Labour Party administration. So how can we be talking about one administration of the past 18 years, but we do not want to talk about the same party, the Labour Party, having these problems, Madam Speaker? Let us speak, if we're talking about the past, let us talk about the past, and not only of one party, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Minister of I think is Business Enterprise and member for Portsmouth Constituency, Minister of Trade as well. He wrongly attributed what happened in February of 2017, the looting, etc., on the United Workers' Party. But also, it's a fact that the government compensated many of the persons whose places were looted, known supporters of the Dominica Labour Party. I am now calling, will the same principle apply to the many places that were looted after Maria because of the failure of the state security system, Madam Speaker. Let us speak to that. Let us speak to that. If we are applying a principle, let us apply the principle consistently and all the time, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the situation before Maria under this administration, we had very weak performance of all the economic sectors, tourism, agriculture, etc. High unemployment.
Order, please. Members will have a chance to respond.
Opponents. Systematic dismantling of the social fabric of this country. Marginalization of professionals in the public service because of political interference. Yes, Madam
When
Speaker.
you say that, you are imputing improper motive, and I insist that you withdraw it and refrain from making such others.
I respectfully withdraw, Madam Speaker.
Good.
Madam Speaker, there was also the waste of resources in poorly planned and executed projects, particularly the housing revolution, Madam Speaker. Massive waste as reflected because of poor management after Hurricane Maria. Small business grant, Madam Speaker. All you had to do was change your color and come. You would get money for under the small business grant prior to.
The member, you will please withdraw that. And I'm warning you, the next time you make any kind of insinuation like that, I will have to ask you to take your seat.
I withdraw,
because
Madam Speaker.
You know very well what you're saying is imputing improper motive.
I withdraw, Madam Speaker.
You will not just say it and withdraw it. I'm warning you.
Madam Speaker, also, there was too high reliance on sustainable resources, particularly the CBI. We have been warned and told that the CBI, you cannot have it as your major revenue source. We know what's happening right now in the Caribbean, right here in Antigua. And therefore, because of the weakness in developing the economic sectors, there's now a heavy reliance on the sale of passports to maintain this country, Madam Speaker. This is what happened before Maria. Madam Speaker, global warming is not new. No, it is not new. It's over 15 to 20 years there. But what we saw was a mismanagement of development throughout, taking lands in the Cabrits, national park lands to give to private investors. And up to date today, we do not know whether we have shares in the development or not, Madam Speaker.
Again, you are imputing improper motive. The member, you said so. You said that they may have shares in it. That is imputing improper
No, Madam
motive.
Speaker, I did not say that. I said up to now we don't know if we have shares in it. That's what I said. That's what I said. I'm sorry if I'm speaking too fast, Madam Speaker, but I want to complete my presentation. My apologies if I'm speaking too fast. Madam Speaker, also, climate change was there. It was under your supervision, this government supervision, that the China Friendship Bridge was built literally on the riverbed, Roseau Riverbed. Under your supervision, that the bridge on the Bath Road was built literally on the riverbed. So climate change has been there. It's the incompetence and mismanagement of this administration contributed to the massive loss of Hurricane Maria, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, during the relief supply period, Madam Speaker, unacceptable governance we observed, mismanagement of relief supplies, politicization of relief supply distribution, lack of transparency and What am I doing, Madam Speaker? Please help me understand. Which of the statement I just made that? Could you help me, please? The statement that I just made right now, which one of them that's imputing improper motive? Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, under the you don't tell me what to do, please. Madam Speaker, under the reconstruction and recovery phase of the process, the United Workers' Party called for discontinuation of the bad development practices observed during the last 17 years of DLP rule. We want to stop the ad hoc approach to development decision making. For example, the current new housing program, which I will go further into in just a while. Adhere to the National Land Use Policy and National Physical Development Plan that we paid over $1 million for. It was prepared post-Erica. Erica. We were told that we are holding back on it so that we could take into consideration the implications of Erica. And here it is, we are presenting to them, presenting a budget, not one mention of the National Land Use Policy, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we need to consult with stakeholders. We need to stop pushing unsustainable housing types on people. We have to consult with them. We need to strengthen state institutions to develop state services without political interference. We need to inject much needed finance in growth sectors, agriculture, as suggested by the leader of the opposition on this side. Green the economy. We need to have a closer link between tourism and agriculture, Madam Speaker. Put emphasis on overstay visitors. This is where the money is. We need a transportation system that responds to the needs. Remove the road levy. The conditions of the roads in Dominica are too terrible to be charging people a road levy under these conditions, Madam Speaker. Particularly taking into consideration that Hurricane Maria caused much damage to people's vehicles, Madam Speaker. Energy. We advise this government, yes, we need renewable energy. But however, geothermal is not the way to go. It is too costly. It is not creating jobs. The expertise you require, you cannot build it here in Dominica. You should consider solar, hydro, and wind. I am happy, Madam Speaker, that in this budget presentation, they have acknowledged their mistakes, Madam Speaker, and adhered to the advice, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we advise that let the private sector exploit the geothermal potential of the country for export. And let us concentrate in the areas of renewable that we can manage that will create more jobs, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in terms of the environment, resilience is not sustainability. Resilience means that you're building something that will resist certain natural disasters. Sustainability, you're building for now and for the next generation to enjoy. This is what we have to do. So we need to formulate environmental impact study needs to facilitate buffer zones along our rivers, reforestation, protection of sensitive lands and coastal lands. This is what we need to do. And just stop using the word arbitrarily. This is what a United Workers' Party is calling for, and that is what we will do, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we welcome the proposed initiative of government to place a ban on plastics and styrofoams and such material. However, there are cost implications. So they need to consult with the private sector because there could be alternatives. We must find a means to attract new industry in the country in terms of the way we dispose our waste. So don't just because something is there, we say we're going to put a rule. Consultation, consultation, consultation. Madam Speaker, this is what the United Workers' Party stands for, and this is what we'll do. Madam Speaker, we also welcome the initiative to put in policies in place and adopt policies to integrate the disabled in the society, particularly access to public spaces and buildings, Madam Speaker. We welcome this initiative as proposed in the budget. Madam Speaker, there's proposal to privatize solid waste disposal. I am concerned and we are concerned about that. Tendering. Will there and has there been tendering? What's the cost implications to the householder? And what is the justification for the privatization? Is it that you did not resource and provided the Solid Waste Management Committee with the adequate resources, personal resources, as well as equipment? Now it becomes necessary. Madam Speaker, the implication as to what happened with the public works. Because of the demise of public works, we saw what happened with the poor maintenance of our roads. This is at the back of our heads. So when we are deciding to privatize solid waste collection, please do the consultation, make sure we do it properly, and adhere to the Procurement Act to make sure that we get the right firm at the right price to do it, Madam Speaker. This is what a United Workers' Party government recommends and will do, Madam Speaker. New housing initiative, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, again, we are hearing the number of non-bid contracts. Where is the transparency? Where is the justification? Madam Speaker, we are being told that the government is going to deliver 1,000 homes in 1 year. However, in the estimate before us, there's only $20 million allocated to this. There was a disconnect. What is the contract sum? What is the delivery time? Because you are telling us they're delivering 1,000 homes in 1 year, but 20 million spent in this current financial year. We need explanation. We need an explanation, Madam Speaker. We are also being told that the government is going to build 3,853 units in 14 months. By my estimates, Madam Speaker, this will cost in the region of $424 million, even at $80,000, $90,000 per unit, not including land, etc. However, in the estimates before us, there's only $62 million allocated. Where is the money coming from? We need explanation. We need explanation. And the same company that is on that we are told will build these 773 units in 14 months is the same company building the Bellevue Shopping project. And in 3 years, they are only able to deliver 91 units out of a 341 units they are required to deliver. It's not consistent. Who are we fooling? Who are we fooling? Give us the information. The information in here is not consistent with what we are being told in the budget address. So I'm asking to explain and give us the explanation, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the United Workers' Party will adhere to the Procurement Act in building housing for the people. We believe that the policy of this administration to build multiple apartment buildings, multiple floor apartment buildings in rural areas is unacceptable. Roseau, yes. Newton, yes, where the density is high and land not available. But you cannot go in rural areas where there is so much land available and build 3- and 4-story apartment buildings. The United Workers' Party advocates and recommends duplexes. We recommend row housing. We recommend townhouses so that the people, the occupants will have their house needs and they'll have a front and backyard. This is what we need. And we'll give priority to building, to the beneficiaries who have land to build the homes on their land, Madam Speaker. It is called infill development. There's much land in the communities that you have targeted to do that type of development. This is what the United Workers' Party will do, Madam Speaker. And most importantly, there will be no uncertainty regarding ownership of those units, Madam Speaker. Upfront, we'll let them know how it will be paid for and when and under what terms and conditions they will own those units, Madam Speaker. We'll not hold it over their head that you are still in a government project, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we also ask and recommend the continuation and expansion of the duty-free concession for another year. There are too many people out there still trying to build, and the cost of construction is going up and up and up. And there's no intervention by the government. We are asking that basic materials like roof covering, plywood, galvanized, lumber be placed under price control for a specific period. That is the only way you can ensure you transfer the benefit of duty-free concession to the people, Madam Speaker. Listen to the message and not who it is coming from, Madam Speaker. That's we advise the government. Free consultants. Madam Speaker, we also wish to discourage the government from encroaching on recreational playing fields to put up houses as they're doing at Castle Bruce, in the Kalinago territory, in Grand Fond. This is unsustainable development. You are denying the next generation of recreational space. It is the same principle that you advocate in resiliency. Resiliency is not sustainability. And the practice, and right now the project that you're doing at Castle Bruce, sorry, Madam Speaker.
You have 4 minutes left.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No, go ahead. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I move a motion to add another 5 minutes or 10 minutes to the members' speaking time.
What did you say? I didn't. 4 minutes?
5 minutes, Madam Speaker.
It has been, you second, right? It has been moved and seconded that the member be given a further 5 minutes to complete his contribution. Those in favor? Those against? You have 3 minutes left.
Not going to transform Roseau into a real capital city to attract foreign investment. Go back and adhere to the Roseau Road Reinstatement Project. It is right on the desk in the shelves of the Ministry of Communications and Works, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd also like to urge the government that there are more important priorities than doing the East Yellow Block Bridge at this time. There are 6 lanes in and out of Roseau, 6 lanes. Yet you have, for example, the Piditsufria-Rosalie Road, not done. After 10 years, you have the Layu River area with 1 lane of the bridge above, upstream of the other one damaged. Major storm could damage the other one. Right there, you have 40% or more of your population cut off from Roseau. So why not give priority to these issues rather than an East Yellow Block Bridge where you have 6 lanes in and out of Roseau? Set up your priorities right, Madam Speaker. Set it right, Madam Speaker. Well, she comes in, I can't do nothing about it. So, Madam Speaker, we welcome a number of initiatives for the Castle Bruce constituency, which includes the farm access road, which includes the rehabilitation of the Castle Bruce Primary School, Good Hope Resource Center, Piditsufria, and also the rehabilitation of the Castle Bruce platform pavilion at Castle Bruce. However, there is urgent need for assistance, Madam Speaker. There are too many people in the constituency still in hurricane shelters. We need for the access roads to farms, plain fields in Piditsufria, Good Hope. There's need for attention in those areas. The many solar lights still sitting in the playing field in your constituency, Minister for National Security. Distribute to the rural areas. Have them distribute to rural areas. What we are, the intention to light up the highways may be a good intention, but particularly the Pocassé Melville Hall Highway, the proximity of those lights is having a real aesthetic impact on the greenery of the area. And if you notice, ownership is not there, because as soon as the hurricane came and destroyed the lights, people came and they looted it. If it was in the rural areas where lighting is required, I'm sure they would have protected it. So give priority to the communities, people in these tracks where people work in the village. The lights along those roads are too close, 50-feet interval. It is impacting too much on the natural area, of the area. This is what we are saying. And please, I hope that you take the advice. Madam Speaker, in the...
Your time is up, eh? One sentence. One sentence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the United Workers' Party plan presented by the Leader of the Opposition.
I don't have an assistant there.
The United Workers' Party plan presented by the by the Leader of the Opposition is the better plan for the development of this country for the next year. What would advise this government? Yes, there are some strong, good proposals in the plan address presented by the Honorable Prime Minister. Integrate them with that of the United Workers' Party plan. Adopt this plan as the plan for the development of this country over the next year, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I move that this House be suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Seconded, Madam Speaker.
You seconded? It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable House be suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. This Honorable House stands suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon.